Part of my afternoon is to watch ESPN's Highly Questionable with Dan Lebitard. It's appointment viewing, not because of Dan or Bomani. It's because of Lebitard's dad, who Gonzo is a star. Although too much nudity for me, and Danny joins us now. Yeah, your dad, the whole nudity thing is kind of creeping me out.
Not enough nudity for him, rest assured.
What does your mom think of this?
My mom doesn't watch. My mom also says when she was watching, and she, serious, I'm not kidding about this, she says, I would so love to have an affair with the man you sit next to on television, because that's not the one who comes home.
Can you yell at your dad for his performance during the show?
Oh, no, he doesn't listen to me. This is typical father-son stuff. Bomani is very gentle with him, and he'll listen to everything Bomani says and the producers. But if I say anything to him, he just gets mad. It's funny. It's typical father-son stuff. I'm always his son, so I'm not going to be respected as an authority figure.
All right, let's dive into this. Is this silly or serious, what's going on with the Patriots?
Well, I always love, to remove all the judgmental nature from sports and laugh at things, and there's plenty to laugh at here. I mean, the idea that the guys doing the deflating and the texting, are named Yastrzemski and McNally from that area of the country. The first interview of Tom Brady was actually in Salem. That's where the witch trials were. The idea that Aaron Rodgers is over to the side saying, "Yeah, I overinflate the footballs. I got big balls. I could throw the beach. I could throw a beach ball for 400 yards." There's a lot of funny here. I always enjoy the funny. But if you want to take it seriously, I'd ask you this question, and it's a tough question. But if I ask the audience or I ask you, Dan, does the NFL have integrity? And I make it a yes or no question.
No, I brought it up. Yeah, I brought it up. I just said no. They preach it. They don't have it, but they want everybody else to have it.
Right, and one of the things that's in play, whether it's you think that the players are all on human growth hormone because they're giants or because of the concussion issue, when you don't have integrity, one of the ways you try to get it is by over-punishing in its absence to give off the appearance that you're protecting it. So, this punishment is fairly large given that none of us really know even what the advantage gained was, and that's hard to believe that we're there. Given how much we've talked about it, Dan, it's hard to believe that we don't actually know what the advantage gained was.
Well, why is it we allow quarterbacks? Both teams can have their own set of footballs, and we allow you to whatever you want to do to them up to a certain point, but then that's when we take the footballs, and you can't have any say in what goes on with those footballs as far as PSI. Why have a variance here of 12.5 to 13.5 or 14? Why isn't it just standard? This is what it is. Or allow these quarterbacks that we've gone out of our way to fawn over and give every rule interpretation to them. Let them have the football they want so it's not an unfair advantage or an advantage for either. Andrew Luck can do whatever he wants. Aaron Rodgers can. Tom Brady can.
The starting point on this, Dan, is totally random, right? It's a random – none of us knew what the rule was before this, and it's a totally random number this is what the pressure is allowed. So the starting point on is random, but everything after it is random as well. The reason that this spent so much time in the news cycle, beyond it being Tom Brady, who's hugely famous, and Patriots, who just received a Lifetime Achievement Award for cheating, beyond it being that, one of the reasons that this has gotten our attention is because of the random nature of punishment in that league. And we love our male soap opera, so we've spent a lot of time, well, what's the punishment going to be? Because none of us, it could have been one game, it could have been 8 games. How the hell do we know? It's just going to be some random punishment as this league continues to make things up. And I ask you this question, because Roger Goodell is a glorified PR agent who makes $44 million a year, who has entrusted himself with being the keeper of integrity and has made his fame on being the punisher. I ask you if he's made his fame on being the guy who protects the shield, right? The varying nature, the random nature of these punishments, and that we don't know what they're ever going to be because there's no uniform code on some of this stuff. He eventually got, the same number of games that the GM of the Browns got, 4 games for cheating. But because he's the image protector and has made himself so, do you think that this has made everything worse? That he has, because the punishments are random, you keep it in the news cycle, and the only time that something gets kept in the news cycle in the other sports is, when you got the malice at the palace, or Luis Suarez bites someone's ear. I do wonder if this has been made worse by the way that we can gossip about the penalty.
If you had a chance to interview Brady, the commissioner, or the equipment/ball boys,
am I going to get honesty?
Well, as best you can. You're going to have to gauge that yourself. I give you a half hour with whatever parties you want. You get a half hour.
Okay. If I get a half hour with whichever party I want, what I want is I want to reach into Tom's pocket and grab his cell phone and go through it, not talking to him for a half hour, and he can't take it from me.
So you'd spend 30 minutes in his cell phone?
That's right. And if I don't get an answer to the investigation, I might be just looking at pictures of women. I don't know. Like I might get distracted.
Well, it would be woman, a picture of woman, not.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, there you
go. You heard me wrong.
Yes.
That's what I meant, Dan. I would never accuse the golden boy of philandering. I would never.
I have to ask you a LeBron question. Is Miami rooting against the Cavs and LeBron?
It's not absolute. Some pockets are. I would say it's pretty split. Some people, but this year hasn't been as interesting with LeBron. Am I wrong about that, or has the country at large been just as interested this year with LeBron as it was the last 4 years?
He might be less hateable, but I also think that you had great storylines that emerged elsewhere. I think we kind of reveled in the Cavs starting out the gate losing, a little friction between LeBron and Love. But you had Curry, Anthony Davis, you had Westbrook, you had Harden. You actually had positive stories that seemed to overshadow what was going on in Cleveland.
It'd be fairly amazing if he won it because they're not playing team basketball. I mean, he's got the highest isolation rate in the playoffs. They've got the highest isolation rate in the playoffs. They've got the lowest assist rate in the playoffs. They're not playing the kind of basketball that ever wins the championship, and they're not efficient on that isolation rate. Last night was great. I don't know where that guy has been all season because that's not been the guy all season. Never mind the playoffs. All season, that hasn't been the guy that we've seen. He's been an inefficient player this year. Last night was the best game I've seen him play this year.
Could you rip the commissioner and maybe get fired or suspended by ESPN? Just, like Bill
Dan,
Simmons?
I got to go. We'll talk soon, all right?
Thank you, Dan.
See you, buddy.
Dan Le Batard.